Band Central, thanks for joining me today. We have a very special guest here at Tribute Band Central. He is one of the premier woodwind players in the Atlanta market and plays with a lot of tribute bands and does a whole bunch of other stuff. And I really appreciate him joining us and talking to us a little bit about both his musical background and his tribute band performances. Vinnie D'Agostino is his here. How are you doing today, Vinnie?
Excellent. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So let's start at the beginning. How did you start in music? Have you always been in woodwinds? What's your background?
Yeah, so I have to credit my parents first of all with always playing music in the house. That was helpful because kind of it was a natural thing. And then second, I have to credit good old PS25 back in Jersey City where I grew up in New Jersey. And we had an elementary school program that started kids off at 8, and we emphasized performing. So, boy, they threw you into the deep end of the pool back then. So my first performance officially, I was 8 years old. But it was the norm. Everybody did it. So that was kind of how I got going on clarinet.
So you started on clarinet and then kind of branched out from there.
Exactly. So then saxophone and with the teachers, and I'm very thankful for this, the teachers I had growing up around New York, very influenced by the Broadway expectations of being able to what we call double, which just means playing multiple woodwind instruments. So my teachers doubled. It was just the norm. And as a kid, you don't know any better. So I picked up sax at 12 and then a little bit of flute after that. I got much more serious later. I'll get to that. But that's it. And then that's kind of the families of the instruments, the clarinets, the saxes, the flutes.
Have you always been a full-time musician, or have you had some other things that you've done, or what? How does that
Yeah.
work? Or did you go right through college and go
No,
pro?
yeah, I have a perhaps unusual story that way. I started out fully intending to do a music career, and then I decided in college actually to go a different way. So I actually had a pretty long career in corporate IT until about 6 years ago, and I kind of switched over, and now I have my dream job of being a musician full time. So
That
yeah,
is
so kind of backwards or whatever you want to call it, but maybe unusual. But yeah, I did the whole corporate thing. Did that. I was knee deep in it for years, and I just found that best for personal reasons. But then about 6 years ago, I was in a position to say, yeah, let's do it. For music full time.
wow. Wow. That's a great story. So let's talk tribute bands a little bit. I have been lucky enough to hear you three or maybe four times so far. And the first one was Piano Man versus Rocket Man, which was, I don't know, probably 18 months ago.
Uh,
And I didn't know you at that time, and I didn't have this channel then, but I still communicate with all my band friends from high school. And you had I believe it was a bass clarinet that you played.
that's correct. Yes, you have a
And
great memory. Yeah,
and we always tease one of the people in our band group because that's the instrument she played. And I always teased her, what
yeah,
is that ever going to do for you? So
right.
that's where I kind of started to appreciate you. And then you subbed for Chi-Town Transit Authority,
Yes,
and I have a relationship with most of the guys, and I've seen them many times, and that was great. And then you did the single Piano Man show
yes.
just I don't know a couple weeks
A
ago
couple weeks ago,
with
yeah.
Mark Cavalli, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And so that and actually I think I sat almost right in front of you.
Okay.
So we shot a lot of video of you, and I will probably tag some of that after this interview and that kind of thing.
Sure.
But so tell me about the tribute bands. Are those the only ones you've been in, or are there others, or what's going on with that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So first, let me cover Piano Man and Mark. So I'll do this really quickly. So Mark is also part of an outfit called Dueling Pianos, which is an incredibly entertaining shtick of great music, singing, and lots of jokes. Anyway, but our mutual friend Damien Cartier really introduced us years ago. Probably it's been a few years. Um, so I remember the first time I played with Mark was way back. We played at a place that some people will remember called Jelly Rolls back in Buckhead. It's probably 20 years ago. So anyway, fast forward, Mark had moved all around. He was on the road doing a rock band. He had moved to Nashville. But anyway, we got reacquainted right in actually early 2020, and he had already launched Piano Man out of Nashville, but he was bringing it back home to Atlanta to as his home base. So he got in touch with me, and of course, uh, and every cloud has a silver lining. Even though it was 2020, a really tough time for all entertainers. Mark, boy, to all his credit, he started um, a live stream that got very popular in 2020, 2021, and 2022. It was kind of like everybody's Wednesday night. Got to be a habit for a lot of our fans. So we built our catalog, built the book, and used it as kind of practice plus kind of an outreach to everybody, all of us that were all homebound. So that's kind of how really the story of how I got involved with Piano Man. And then of course, like in whatever 2022, let's call it, we were so happy to be, we were like wild animals out of a cage. We were so anxious to get out there and play. So and we've developed the book, and we've had such a ball. Everybody in the band truly loves the music. We love playing together. We're like brothers. We really have fun with that show. So that's the first with Piano Man. Then, as you mentioned, we decided to expand it to add, the Billy and Elton element. And in fact, I have to look at the text thread, but I think I came up with the name. We were goofing around with what to call it. And I think I came up with Piano Man versus Rocket Man, kind of as a joke, honestly. But it stuck. We were kind of goofing around as musicians might do, and I came up with that, and it stuck. So that's the second one. Then with Chi-Town, as you mentioned, certainly a friend of the band, Tom. I mean, the guys are so great. Tom, Chris, Rick, the whole gang, and they're so dedicated to that project. And I am just honored to be able to go in there and sub when Tom, the sax player, is out. When Jinxie's out, I am always happy to step in there. It's so much fun to play those as a horn player. So those are the ones, for me. And thankfully, the Billy and then the Billy and Elton shows are picking up even more and keeping us pretty busy.
Excellent. I just got my tickets to the July 25th one at Mad Life, so
Yeah,
we will be there, and I'm
thank you.
very excited about that. So, do you have a favorite song or style to play? I mean,
Yeah, it's a great question, and I've thought about this one so much. And I make first to preface it, I make my living, and my strategy is to be very flexible with lots of instruments, lots of styles, and nowadays it brings me a lot of joy to be doing number one music that's really good, high quality music and high quality and great musicians. And of course, it really helps to have an audience, that loves it, that could, share joy with us. And those really are the factors for me at this point. Like years ago, I might have said, "Oh, I want to be in an orchestra, or I want to play jazz," but it's just not that way anymore. I've played in the last couple of months. Just this past weekend, I did the Atlanta Jazz Festival. A week ago, I was a guest with the Gwinnett Symphony, doing completely different stuff, classical, and then of course the shows with Mark and not too long ago the Chi-Towns. All of them, I get tons of joy out of all those because they check all the boxes. The music's amazing. Musicians are not only great musicians, but positive people to be around, and that's really at this point what I love. And I work really hard to keep my skills up in multiple styles.
wow. Well, from an audience perspective, we love it. Um, I mean, and I'm just so intrigued that you can jump around like that. Um, I was a trumpet player in high school and a little bit of college, but I haven't played since then. And I just I can't imagine being able to do that. You're an incredible player to be able to do
Well,
that.
thank you very much. And like I said, having that for me anyway, and everybody has their own path, but for me, starting out on clarinet has served me well. It's not the same for everybody, but that served me well. And then honestly, the saxophone family, while each saxophone is unique, certainly and needs its own work ethic, there's a lot of similarities, among the sax family. Then, really, my secret for flute is my wife is an amazing flutist. so, having a teacher here at my home
Uh,
is an amazing luxury because I could just obviously ask her. I mean, it might cost me something, but I have, but it's great. I can get tips from Barbara whenever I need to, and she's a great teacher as well. So that's an amazingly convenient thing for me.
let's talk a little bit. Do you have a favorite venue that you like
Yeah,
to perform at? Is there one that just feels like home or
yeah. That's a. Oh, I love that question, um, and I have an answer, but I want to share with the audience. What makes a venue fun, at least for me, but I would think for a lot of artists, is being able to connect with the audience. And it's funny. You might think like, or I used to think, oh well, the bigger the better. I used to think that way. Like, well, come on, doing a stadium would be the greatest thing ever, and of course that would be great, obviously. But the bigger the venue, sometimes you could lose kind of that personal connection. And as you mentioned, you were right there in the front row. So I happen to love Mad Life. It just checks so many boxes. I could reach out and high five the front row,
yep.
make eye contact with people, even if it's dark, in the room. And it's small enough, and we can involve the audience. And so it's very personal. And not to mention the crew's amazing, and I mean everything about it is just done so well. But from a connecting with the audience, I definitely we love playing there. That feels like home to us.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Well, do you have any upcoming shows you'd like to plug or mention,
Yeah.
for our audience so we know what to do? I know I'm going to the one in July 25th,
Yes.
but anything else you got coming up? And it could in
Definitely.
any genre, doesn't have to be
Yeah,
tribute
I
band, any
appreciate it.
genre.
So I'll do it by genre. I have my list because I don't have them all memorized. So first, the Billy Elton, as you mentioned, we've got July 25th at Mad Life. We also have a free concert, same band, June 21st, City of Alpharetta. So that's a free one, and we're totally stoked about both of those, obviously. Then also, I need to plug. I just played last night. I also played Barry sax with the Joe Granson Big Band. We have a show on the 8th, June 8th, at Roswell Cultural Arts Center, which would be fantastic. It's a Tony Bennett show, very different. Let's see. Another one that I wanted to plug is my own jazz trio, Sunday afternoon, June 22nd. I'm doing well, officially, I guess you could call it a tribute, a salute to Sonny Rollins. That's at the Red Light Cafe, right near Piedmont Park, June 22nd. And then, let's see. Oh, and then a huge night for me personally. I'm leading the Jazz at the High series in July. So July 18th. That one. It's a big honor. We get a great crowd in there. And I have a jazz funk band in there, and I have a Grammy winner, at least one in there. It's an
Wow.
amazing band, yeah. Um,
Wow.
and uh, and I'll be all over the place on multiple horns, and we have a great singer. It's really fun at Jazz at the High. That's July 18th. That's Friday Jazz. Um, Geez, another. Let me mention another free one. So another free one. It's 2 nights. This is brought to us by the Musicians Local as well as Roswell United Methodist Church, a patriotic concert, Two shows, June 27th and June 29th, free. And it's patriotic music. It's a big band, and boy, the cast of characters in this big band are all the A list of Atlanta. June 27th, 7:30. June 29th, Sunday afternoon at 3. So that's so I got a few things going on.
You are a
Always,
busy guy. Busy
yeah,
guy.
having a lot of fun.
Well, I can speak to say to the audience, definitely find time to see those shows because it's amazing. Um, I know we're pushing a little for time. I have one final question, and so is there anything else that you would say today that you want to say to the audience during the shows, but you just don't have time? I mean, obviously the lead singer says a little bit here between, but the poor woodwind guy doesn't always get to say anything directly to the audience. So I'm going to give you the opportunity. If you were on
Oh,
stage right
that's so
now,
nice.
what would you
I,
say?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is gratitude, for, every time to look out and see fans returning or bringing friends, and of course, new fans. The degree of appreciation we have, there's no us without you. That is, I think that's the feeling I want to convey to everybody is a deep appreciation for the audience paying your hard-earned money. We know that, and we know that there's a lot of things you could be doing on a Friday or Saturday night. So like it's just such a deep feeling of appreciation that you spend it with us. And of course, we take pride in that, and we take that obligation really seriously. That we want to put on an absolutely first class show every time.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Tribute Band Central is honored to have you come in and say hello. And to my viewers, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. In the comments, I will put links to Vinny's webpage, and we'll put in some links for any of those upcoming shows so that it'll be there. I always invite my listeners. If you have any questions for Vinny or myself, put them in the comments, and I will try to get an answer for you, or I'll forward it off to Vinny, and we'll see if we can answer it. And I'm very appreciative that you come. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Harlan. Thank you, everybody.
All right, take care.